Today Dong Fu invites you to delve deeper into the Dhammapada, the 38th verse from the Buddhist scriptures on the YouTube channel TN Thai in USA. Dhammapada, verse 38. Wisdom is not perfected in one whose mind is not steadfast, who knows not the good teaching, and whose faith wavers. Let us now settle the mind. Let the breath be natural. Let the heart be at peace. The Buddha speaks these words not to rebuke, but to illuminate, not to judge, but to guide. In this verse, the Buddha gently teaches us about the very roots of wisdom, and why wisdom cannot grow in unstable ground. If the mind is not steadfast, it is like a tree with shallow roots. The winds of desire will shake it. The storms of anger will snap it. The drought of ignorance will wither it. And no fruit of wisdom can grow from such a tree. The Buddha says, "Do not look for wisdom in one whose mind is always moving, chasing this thought and that opinion, jumping from joy to sorrow, from doubt to hope, from liking to disliking. Instead, he points us toward stillness, toward steadiness, toward stability of mind. And how do we find this steadfast mind? Through practice, through mindfulness, through contemplation of impermanence, through noble silence, and the letting go of attachment. When the Buddha speaks of one who knows not the good teaching, he is not only speaking of one who has not heard the Dhamma, but also of one who hears but does not reflect, who reads but does not apply, who memorizes but does not realize. True knowledge of the teaching is not in the words we recite, but in the transformation of our lives. It is not how many sutras we can quote, but how much we live in accordance with the Four Noble Truths, with compassion, with wisdom, and with awareness. And then the Buddha says, whose faith wavers. That is the third condition. A wavering faith is like a broken bridge across a river. Even if we have all the teachings, even if we have a calm mind, if we do not have the faith to cross, we will remain stuck on this shore of suffering. Faith is not blind belief. Faith is confidence born of experience. It is trust in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, based on what we have seen in our own hearts, in our own efforts, in our own little moments of awakening. This verse is gentle, but it is firm. Wisdom is a flower that only blooms on the soil of steadiness, understanding, and faith. Without these three, wisdom remains a seed, waiting in the dark. Dear friends, we live in a world of distraction. Our phones pull us. Our fears pull us. Our cravings pull us. And when we are pulled in many directions, how can we be steadfast? We must return. We must return to the breath, to the moment, to the present. Again and again, we must come back to what is here and now. To have a steadfast mind does not mean we never feel pain. It means we do not run from it. To know the good teaching does not mean we are scholars. It means we know how to be kind, how to let go, how to be aware. And to have unwavering faith does not mean we never question. It means we have the courage to keep walking even when we do not see the end of the path. Let us sit with this verse deeply. Let its simplicity guide us like a lamp in the darkness. If you ask, how do I become wise? The Buddha's answer is clear. First, Make the mind stable, like a still lake. Second, study and live the Dharma, not just with lips, but with life. Third, nourish your faith like a sacred fire, with devotion, with discipline, and with joy. We are pulled by pleasure. We are pushed by pain. The mind becomes like a candle in the wind, flickering, never steady. But the Buddha taught us mindfulness. He taught us the practice of watching the breath, not controlling it, but watching, knowing the breath as breath, knowing the body as body, knowing feelings as feelings, knowing mind as mind. This knowing is the beginning of steadiness, the knowing that does not react, does not judge, does not grasp. When we sit quietly and watch the breath, the mind begins to settle. The waves calm, the mud sinks, the water becomes clear. Then we can see deeply. Then wisdom arises. But if we do not train the mind, it runs wild. Even if we read all the sutras, if the mind is chaotic, we misunderstand them. Even if we hear the highest teachings, if the mind is distracted, they pass through like wind through branches. So, the first task is to calm the mind, not to suppress it, but to understand it, to see the causes of restlessness, to be aware of the habits that pull us into the past and future, and to gently, patiently, return to the present moment. The second part of the verse speaks of not knowing the good teaching. The good teaching is not good because it is beautiful words. It is good because it leads to freedom. It leads to peace. It leads to the end of suffering. The good teaching is not only in books. It is in silence, in service, in stillness, in generosity, in patience, in renunciation. It is the teaching of the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, the 5 Precepts, the 6 Perfections. Do we know these teachings? Do we live them? Or do we only speak them? The Buddha said, "Better than 1,000 words is one word that brings peace." So better than knowing many teachings is knowing one that you live fully. If we do not study the good teaching, our faith is shallow. We may be inspired for a day, but then fall into doubt. We may believe in the Buddha, but we do not know why. That is why the Buddha always said, "Ahapasiko, come and see." Do not believe blindly, but examine. Look within. Test the teachings in your life. When you see that the teachings work, your faith becomes strong, unshakable. Then the final part. Whose faith wavers? Faith is like a lamp in the storm. When we face loss, pain, illness, old age, death, we need this lamp. If the lamp is weak, the storm blows it out. But if the lamp is protected by mindfulness, by right view, by noble friends, it survives, and it guides us forward. A wavering faith is full of doubt, full of questioning without practice, full of seeking but never staying. We go from one teacher to another, one method to another, never committing, never settling. But true faith is not jumping around. True faith is sitting still and trusting the process. Even when it's hard, even when it feels empty, even when we feel like giving up. Faith is not always joy. Sometimes it is quiet endurance. Sometimes it is choosing not to run. Sometimes it is holding on when everything falls apart. That kind of faith becomes unshakable. And from that faith, wisdom blossoms. So let us remember, wisdom is not a gift from the sky. It is a fruit of steady practice, of understanding the teachings, and of deep inner faith. We cannot fake it. We must grow it, day by day, moment by moment. Let us return again to the verse. Slowly, wisdom is not perfected in one whose mind is not steadfast, who knows not the good teaching, and whose faith wavers. Let us make the mind steadfast. Let us live the teaching. Let us nourish the flame of faith. In this way, wisdom will not be far. Enlightenment will not be a distant star, but a light already shining within. Let this verse be your daily reflection. Write it, recite it, contemplate it. Let it sink into your heart. When the mind shakes, remember it. When you doubt your path, remember it. When you feel lost, remember it. Dear friends, we enter the heart of the path. We ask ourselves, how do we become steadfast? What does it mean to have a mind that does not waver? In our daily lives, the mind is constantly moving. It reacts to praise and blame, to gain and loss, to comfort and pain. And each time it moves, our peace disappears. But the Buddha teaches, the mind is trainable. Just as water becomes still in a calm bowl, so too can the mind be stilled through mindful attention. The breath is always here, right now. It is the bridge that connects the body and the mind. When we breathe in and know we breathe in, and breathe out and know we breathe out, the mind begins to settle. The body softens. The emotions untangle. The heart remembers the silence beneath the noise. Day by day, if we sit in quiet, even for 5 minutes, we are watering the seed of steadfastness. We are creating the space in which wisdom can blossom. No one becomes wise overnight. Even the great disciples of the Buddha practiced for many years, patiently, humbly, sincerely. And then we ask, how do we come to know the good teaching? We begin by listening deeply, not only with the ears, but with the heart. The Buddha's words are not just information. They are medicine. And like medicine, they only work if we take them properly, if we reflect, if we apply them in our life. They begin to heal us. To know the good teaching is to live the teachings, not just in the temple, not just during chanting, but in the kitchen, in traffic, at work, in conversations with family. Can we live with right speech, right thought, right livelihood? Can we offer patience when someone is angry? Can we let go when we are hurt? Can we remember impermanence when we are clinging? The Dharma is not theory. It is the path to freedom. And freedom is not only found in meditation halls. Freedom is found in how we respond to the small frustrations of daily life. Freedom is found in how gently we speak, how mindfully we eat, how clearly we see our own mind. The good teaching includes everything the Buddha taught, but at its essence, it is the Four Noble Truths, the truth of suffering, the truth of its cause, the truth of its cessation, and the truth of the path. If we understand even a little of these truths and practice them sincerely, we are already walking the path of wisdom. And now we return to the final part of the verse. Faith. The Buddha knew that faith is delicate. It can be strong in one moment and then collapse in another. That is why he always encouraged wise faith. Faith that is based on seeing for ourselves. When we keep precepts, our heart becomes lighter. That lightness strengthens faith. When we meditate and feel calm, that calmness strengthens faith. When we help someone and feel joy, that joy strengthens faith. So faith is not something mysterious. It is the result of right action. It is the fruit of the path. But sometimes, even with effort, we feel doubt. We feel lost. That is natural. The path is not always clear. But even in doubt, we can keep going. Even when we cannot see the light, we can keep walking. Because the Buddha left us the map. The Dharma is our compass. And the Sangha is our support. In moments of darkness, remember the stories of the great disciples. Ananda, who struggled with attachment. Angulimala, who overcame great violence. Kisagadami. So you too, dear listener, can be transformed. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to be sincere. To take one step, and then another, and then another. If your mind wavers, return to the breath. If your knowledge feels shallow, study one teaching and live it fully. If your faith feels weak, remember the times you felt peace, and let that memory carry you. Let us reflect one last time on the verse. Wisdom is not perfected in one whose mind is not steadfast, who knows not the good teaching, and whose faith wavers. This verse is a mirror. It asks us to look honestly. Am I steady in my mind? Do I study and live the Dharma? Is my faith nourished or neglected? The answers are not for judgment, but for practice. Every day is a new beginning. Every moment is a new chance to choose steadiness, to choose the teachings, to choose trust in the path. If you fall, get up gently. If you forget, return kindly. If you doubt, take refuge again in the Buddha, in the Dharma, in the Sangha. These three jewels are not far. They are already within you. The Buddha nature is already here, waiting to be uncovered. In closing, let this verse guide your life. Write it on your heart. Let it be your companion in silence and in speech, in sorrow and in joy. When the world is loud, return to it. When your mind is confused, return to it. When your heart seeks peace, return to it. Be steadfast like the mountain. Know the good teaching like a gentle scholar of the heart. Hold your faith like a candle in the night. In this way, wisdom will come naturally, like a flower blooming in the spring. May your journey be steady. May your understanding deepen. May your faith blossom. May wisdom become the light that leads you home. Thank you for watching my video. DHAMMAPADA. I wish to bring this merit towards all disciples and sentient beings, all of whom will attain Buddhahood. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel to review the short sermons of the Buddha. Thank you for listening to the Dharma. you.